Scott Summers is on a one-man mission to try and restore mutant kind to its former glory, but doing so will make him a lot of enemies along the way. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of X-Men issue number 3 and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, the X-Men's brand new factory base of operations gets invaded by a group of heavily armored individuals. They're led by the mutant known as Vanisher, and if you don't know who this guy is, maybe it's time to brush up on your X lore. This guy was actually the first evil mutant the X-Men ever fought, all the way back in their second ever issue. In reality, though, Vanisher isn't the brains of the operation. He's only working as an intermediary for another new character called Agent Lungvest. Lingavist? Maybe Lungquest, like the hockey player? I am going to have so much of a hard time saying this name over and over again, aren't I? This is the problem with being a workaday comic book YouTuber. I can say a bunch of nonsense words absolutely perfectly with excellent grammar, but you give me a real world word, and suddenly I'm sounding like I have two tongues or something. Surprise, surprise, but today Scott Summers actually just so happens to be taking a meeting with this Agent Lungquest at the small town Alaskan diner. Of course, he's already in a bad mood because he just got off the phone with Rogue, who you'll know if you've been reading the Uncanny X-Men book, is actually leading a whole group of mutants who continue to hold out against whatever it exactly is that Scott is planning for mutant kind in Alaska. Which Cyclops doesn't like because he feels that they're wasting their potential all just living in the forest and adopting runaways, and that it's only a matter of time before they end up getting pinched or even killed by the powers that be. Now, this Agent Lungquest guy we discover is actually the leader of a brand new governmental body calling itself One. They've showed up in full force to this small Alaska town, and what begins is an epic game of big dickery between these two. Now, while all that is going on, we actually get a very interesting little character moment between Temper and Magneto. You'll remember that Temper was actually a prisoner, sentenced to the core of Krakoa for breaking their laws of murdering no man. It just so happened to be Magneto that put down that decree, which, yes, is very hypocritical. And now it seems the Master of Magnetism is trying to clear the air with his brand new young teammate. Only here's the twist, though. Temper says she actually didn't give a shit about her prison sentence at all. In fact, she says it opened her eyes right away to what a stupid and ultimately hypocritical place Krakoa is. She's actually one of the only people who doesn't miss it, in fact. Also, for the record, I was totally wrong about her name. I thought they called her Temper because she had a hair trigger, but in reality it's because she can control temperatures. She doesn't feel hot or cold, and she has actively been tempered by her experiences. It's actually quite clever. In fact, this issue kind of ends up being a big spotlight issue for her as a character, but we'll circle back to that in a minute. Back at the diner, we learn that Agent Lungquest is pissed off at Cyclops for everything that went down in San Francisco. Not just that a reality warping mutant broke half of the city, but also because apparently Cyclops' comments about certain mutants coming into their powers later in life actively went viral online. Meaning that the powers that be are now shaking in their boots all over again, fearing the coming of a brand new age of mutantdom. We also learned that Cyclops earned his new factory base of operations by winning a legal battle with the American government. Remember, he suffered worse than just about anyone at the hands of Orchis, whose many anti-mutant atrocities were signed off on by the US government. Cyclops says that the agents of One should count themselves lucky that he only wanted a factory, a small piece of land that him and the mutants could call their own. But make no mistake, he never intended to shut up to go quietly into that good night, and that Agent Lungquest and One should be happy that Cyclops only wants to build a new X-Men team when he very easily could have built himself a brand new Brotherhood. Damn, that is ice cold. Now, back at the base, the other X-Men slowly but surely realize they're under attack. Quentin Quire manages to read the mind of a passed out beast, and through that he learns that they're dealing with invisible phantom foes right now. Meaning that if the good guys want to beat back these invaders, they're going to have to get very clever, which they ultimately do. The real big hanging question, though, is what the hell do these agents of One want right now? Are they here to assassinate Cyclops? Maybe Magneto? Maybe they want to try and get back that reality warping mutant that they liberated in the last issue. The truth, though, that Magic and the others eventually end up uncovering is actually much more interesting. It seems that Agent Lungquest has sent his boys in here right now to try and destroy the final Cerebro, in hopes that doing so will cut the mutants off from each other, keep them scattered, keep them I'm guessing, and keep them from mounting an actual, real, meaningful comeback, and they almost get away with it too if it's not for Temper, who managed to corner 2 of the agents before they set fire to the Cerebro machine. And oh boy, let me tell you, her time in Krakoan prison did nothing to reform her. When these 2 guys throw thermite canisters at her, she just completely inverses them with her powers, and in doing so turns the 1 agents into human popsicles, as Temper loudly and proudly declares that she is done being anyone's collateral damage anymore. Oh lordy, now that is how you get over a newer character. Back over with Lundquist, he once again tries to threaten Cyclops by saying that the American government has their own team of mutants now, only for Cyclops to go, oh yeah, X-Factor, you mean that meta-comedy team led by my brother? You'll excuse me if I don't shake in my boots. Also, hey, we captured your guys anyway. I figured you would probably pull something like this on me. And now because you demanded to do this in public, I'm going to make you look absolutely stupid in front of this small Alaska town, and in doing so, once again assert my dominance over this place as if I needed it. Now I know what you might all be thinking out there, damn, Cyclops has really broken bad. Geez, they're really writing him to be a lot more dark and a lot more sinister than he used to be. Well, don't worry, because as the comic comes to an end, Cyclops has to excuse himself to use the bathroom, where he ends up very clearly having a panic attack. Something he is not used to having, and something that very much illustrates that this new behavior does not agree with him. And so that was X-Men issue number 3, everybody, and I'm happy to say I enjoyed this one a lot more than the issue that preceded it. I was worried that this series would fall into the same problem that I had with Jed MacKay's Avengers book, wherein, you know, it's fine and good, but not interesting enough where I want to keep up with it every month. This one, though, had the stuff I like, mainly a lot of great characterization. Temper has really gone up a ton of notches in my book, and I'll be interested to see where she goes from here with all this extra focus. Hell, I kinda like this idea that Cyclops is mad at Rogue and the other X-Men for not instantly falling in line behind him as Xavier's heir apparent, and that to try and maintain control in such a dire situation, Cyclops is pushing himself into more, well, frankly, Magneto-esque territory than he's comfortable with, and it's kinda killing him. This issue also had great continuity and connective tissue if you're interested in that kind of thing like me, as someone who reads all the X-Men books. Obviously, I mentioned the Uncanny X-Men connection, but I was really shocked to hear them invoke X-Factor, especially because that's so much more of a weird, outside-the-box comedic book. Maybe that means we'll actually get a crossover. Maybe it means Marvel is actually really getting behind Mark Russell, and that book will actually end up being more than just a cult favorite. Overall, I would feel comfortable giving this issue an 8 out of 10. This one ended up being surprisingly solid, and I think I'm going to stick with this one for the foreseeable future. Though, I will admit, why did so many new X-Men books all have to come out in the same week? Why can't they space these out? But those are just my problems. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way, everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.